Greetings and salutations, citizens. This is Wolfphototech, and here we are with another delightful video. This time I'm going to cover the Stratagem cards yet again from the Stratagem spell cards for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I refer to Stratagem as the company, being the producer of these cards. They come in this little loose baggie, kind of like a gift you get at a gala or something. And they have this nice little quasi-premium box they come in. I just happened to put it on top of my coffee cup. It is plastic spot welded in the corners. Those little dots are actually plastic spot welds. It has that sort of pseudo-classic premium look to it. It has the number of cards on the edge of it, 215. This is the Wizard spell deck. At the very bottom it says Wizard spell cards, and it actually denotes on the inside, if you can see it, that it is compatible with 5e. I can actually take the top off. I cut the pieces of tape already. You can see the semicircle for the tape that I cut ahead of time. There happens to be this piece of plastic in here that makes sure that the cards don't bounce around inside the box. By the way, there's the logo for Stratagem on the top of the box, as well as there's some of their socials. And in this box, there's a total of 3 decks. It is a single sheet of plastic that's 3 different colors: clear, blue, the wizard blue, and then you have this sort of off red color, and it's folded together and into the back of the box, as you can see. It's just kind of loose and locked together. Now with these cards, the Stratagem brand cards, they're actually quite nice overall, as the Stratagem brand cards come in these really nice plastic wrappers that I've already cut open ahead of time. But unlike the Gale Force 9's cards, they actually slide in and out of the wrapper quite easily. And then you go. You happen to have this nice owl motif with like a magical summoning circle. And something looks to be a book directly under the owl, or behind the owl. They slide fluidly when you shuffle through them. The Gale Force 9 cards tend to stick to each other, where the Stratagem cards seem to have no stick to them. They tend to be on the thinner side, but they're also mildly textured as well, making them easier to flip through like this really quickly. Where in the case of the Gale Force 9s, as I said, they stick together, so you can like slide one and you actually have 2 stuck to each other, and so forth. As far as I can tell, that all the spells are here as far as the PHB is concerned. It is the generic rules names, Acid Arrow, not MILF's Acid Arrow. So you don't have all the names for all the spells as they are, but it's the basic rules version. See, like here's another example. Instead of Tasha's Hideous Laughter, it's just Hideous Laughter. So there you go. Meteor Swarm. There's one really important note about this wizard deck, is unlike the warlock deck and the druid deck, all the spells are not in level order, nor are they in alphabetical order or setting as those decks were. All the cards are randomly thrown together. Say, like, I happen to have Burning Hand. I open this one up. You have Burning Hands, which is a level 1 spell, and then you have Legend Lore, which is a level 5 spell. And then you have Sending, which is a level 3 spell. And you have Meteor Swarm, which is a level 9 spell. This is how they came in the pack. That actually kind of concerns me, as that might actually be possible considering that this comes in 3 decks, that there might actually be an error situation where I get one of these packages twice. In the same thing, I'm missing a huge section of cards. So at some point, I'm going to have to go through these this entire thing and double check it to see if there's any such errors such as that. But other than that, presuming that if that has not occurred, that these cards are comparable in quality to the Gale Force 9s, if not superior. And there is a really important notation as to why that is. As I said before, the positives of the Gale Force 9 cards is that they're thicker stock. They tend to be more durable. In the case of stratagems, they tend to be a little thinner. So it's a little more concerning that they might get damaged if you use them a lot. However, the Gale Force 9s tend to stick together, which is bad. The stratagems do not stick together. The stratagems don't use the complete names. They use the basic rule versions of the spells' names, and so forth. The Gale Force 9 cards on a negative happen to have, oftentimes when you get a long spell or a creature that has a lot of information on it, they'll sometimes reference, typically it's long spells. The creature cards tend to be extra sizes bigger. They will reference a page in the player's handbook to look at, where the stratagem cards, when you have a text go really long, it says see back, and it continues on to the back, much like the Paizo cards, which is a positive. So there you go. Tiny Hut, not Leelman's Tiny Hut. So, yeah. In the case of the Paizo versus Stratagem cards, the Stratagem cards seem to be better overall. It's like the battle of the 0.25 difference. Not the Paizo cards. Paizo cards are actually the top dogs. In the case of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition cards, you have so far the Stratagem cards and the Gale Force 9 cards, which are official. The Gale Force 9 cards have better information on them, but there's errors. They tell you to, oftentimes, if the spells get really long, to look at the book, which is an inconvenience. You're trying to avoid you pulling out the book to look at it, which is why you have the cards. But they're also more durable and so forth. Where in the positive of the stratagem cards is that they are thinner. You have more cards crammed into a smaller package. And unlike the Gale Force 9 cards, they do not stick together. They actually come in a nice packaging here. So they actually are pretty well put together for the most part. Stratagem actually sells little pocket books you can put all your cards into. So you can arrange them in your own little decks. And then the Stratagem cards also have text that goes to both sides. So, as I said, this is like the Stratagem cards are just barely beating out the official Gale Force 9 cards, but it's like that, yeah. The official ones are pretty nice, though. Stratagem seems to only produce the Wizard deck, the Druid deck, and the Warlord deck. There is no other decks available on Amazon for Stratagem. Just the little binder decks. Stratagem, by the way, produces this, which is actually really nice. There's the Stratagem logo. I have a video on this. This is actually one of my most popular videos on the channel. I show it off quite a bit. So, you go ahead and check that out. Stratagem spell cards for wizards. So, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month, and see you next time.